for a photo? Are you guys ready? 1, 2, 3!
Can we put the beauty in the middle? I think we should. Hello, and thank you for coming. Good evening. Well, speak, girls, speak.
Good afternoon. It's great to be here.
Good afternoon, Salt Lake City. It's a long way from Middle Earth to here.
But I made it. Right, now, what would you like us to do? I know there are a lot of questions, and I believe they're going to come up on a screen. Is that correct? So I'm going to move forward so I can see the damn screen. Oh, did I say that out loud? Very good. Well, let's start off by me asking questions. Miranda, Otto, what was your favorite part of shooting the Lord of the Rings?
Oh my gosh, there were so many great parts of shooting The Lord of the Rings. I think my favourite memory is waking up in the car, driving to work and seeing Edoras for the first time. When they built that incredible set on top of Mount Sunday. That was astonishing to look up to.
Yes. On that flat plain with all those mountains around.
All the mountains, and then that whole set that was on top of that mountain that then they returned back to nature afterwards. So you can never see that set again.
Yeah. And as I remember it, we got out of the buses and we looked around and we saw the most beautiful landscape that we'd ever seen. And we all looked at each other and said, no one is going to believe this.
Yeah.
They're going to say it's just a painted background. It was one of the most astonishing places that I've ever visited, and I visited most places.
It was epic.
Tell me, young man. Which of your many characters gave you most pleasure? Breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
However, Bert's would have been my favorite. Out of them all, even though it was 11-hour makeup, in the birthing Bert's, where I was in the morphing chamber with Christopher Lee, that makeup took 11 hours and 4.5 hours to take off. But my ultimate scene was actually with Christopher Lee in that morphing chamber, working with a master. I only had a few lines, but I couldn't even get those out because I was so awestruck with Christopher being in front of me. Because he used to scare the shit out of me as a kid. And when they were putting the makeup on me as the naked words, the birthing words, I was looking in the mirror and I was scared of myself. And I said, I thought this would be the ultimate payback, to pay back Chris for scaring me all those years ago. So I said to my makeup artist, Gino, I said, I want to run on set and I want to scare the shit out of Christopher Lee. And they said, no, you can't do that. And I went, why not?
Do you remember him as the vampire?
Yeah.
In Dracula?
Yeah, Dracula.
Oh God, I was about 11. I was walking up roads with trees rustling in the dark, shaking with fear.
And the ultimate payback would be to run on set and scare scare the shit out of Christopher Lee. This guy. So I asked Gino, I want to do that. I want to run on set and scare the shit out of him. He said, no, you can't do that. Oh, why not? He goes, because he's 72 years old and it's harder than what it used to be. And he said, so with a sad heart, I had to go in with my head down. But that was my most memorable and favourite scene and character out of the whole thing.
What was yours, John?
I think my most memorable was probably, and it's a picture wrap for John. No, there were many. I mean, it was a glorious cast, fabulous crew, great script, genius director. I mean, everything was right. There was only one grumpy old bastard in the thing, and that was me.
It was definitely one of those things that when you were working on it, I had no doubt that it was going to be amazing. Like sometimes you work on things you think they'll be great and they're not. Sometimes you think it's not going to be good and it is. But this one, I always knew the whole time that this was going to be a huge group of movies and that people would continue to watch them for so many years. No doubt in my mind.
Yeah!
Now, I may have a bone to pick with you. You are not one of these guys who You're not one of these guys who suggested that Gimli in battle was a little rough. You're not one of those sissies, those wimps who complained about Gimli hitting them occasionally a little bit in their armor plated.
Someone didn't go to sword fight training. And some of us did. However, when we came up against you, like myself with Gothmog, this was just before I got killed. I crawl over, and Gimli comes with his axe, and I went, oh no. He's got no pit back. Yes, because I worked with a lot of the stuntmen, because I actually trained as a stuntman. I trained as a stuntman, not a pincushion. But yeah, and the stuntman came back with bruises and what? And it was all just for one person.
I did stab somebody. I stabbed one of the stunt guys, but I didn't know, because it was through his orc costume, and so it must have gone into that. And then nobody told me until the end of the shoot that it had happened, because they were worried that I would hold back then, that I'd get like nervous about hurting anybody, so they just said nothing.
Your stunt double gave me a good whack in the face.
No.
Amanda? Remember Amanda?
Yeah.
Good. I think I would rather have gotten punched by you.
What does that mean?
How long did it take you to get used to your costume?
Well, it didn't take long because it wasn't real heavy plated armor. They had the plastic armor, and so I can actually, because we did a lot of movement, fighting, running, so it didn't really get hot. But I had a bodysuit, a wet bodysuit. They can pull me down during takes, because otherwise I had a sweat chill.
Yeah.
Because the actual top knot on legs is this.
Yeah.
I've still got it.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is the only part of my hair that's part of my character. And because of the mask, the molds and everything that you use over the prosthetics, I sweated a lot underneath there, and the sweat had nowhere to go. So they had to make a sweat chill.
Oh.
You were on it all day for 12 hours, fighting, running, no toilet. Couldn't do anything like that. So no wonder, that's why Makoare was so pissed off. Because we were not going to the toilet.
Death is actually welcome sometimes, isn't it? What about you? Did you,
I loved doing the fighting. I loved all the fighting sequences. There was heaps of fun as a girl to get to do that kind of stuff. And we had amazing, stunt trainers. And who was it who was our master trainer? Was it Bob? Was that his name, Bob? I can't remember now, but he was fantastic. And I don't know if I would be as fearless now as I was then. Like the stunt guys just made you feel like you could do anything. And we were so well trained, and they would rehearse you through all these stunt sequences. I just had no fear about it at all. But now I don't know if I would be as fearless as I was then.
well, I sometimes get asked, would you go back and be Gimli again? And I think, there was the helmet which weighed 10 pounds, the boots which made 12 pounds, the costume, and then the chainmail, and the armor, and that's a total of 80 pounds running up hills. Yeah, at 81, I don't think I'm really, just yet, I could do it.
The armor was heavy. Like, it was heavy, even though they made it lighter than it would actually be if it was like real chainmail, because it was that plastic coated in metal. But it was still heavy, because when I was fighting in a dress, it was much easier than fighting in all the helmet and the chainmail and the leather stuff, a really heavy costume.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you know that Viking boys used to be given their first set of chainmail when they were 5, and they would add to it as the boy grew. So by the time he was 17 or 18, fully grown, that 40 pounds of chainmail that he would be carrying was just part of his...
Just easy.
Just like the weight of a suit on
Right. It's like when my daughter trained for exams, they used to strap batteries to the end of their pencils so that they could train them to write really fast. So that when they wrote with a pencil without the battery, it was like so easy to write. So you train yourself to the weight.
That's a new one. All right then, are we ready now? Well, we've got 29 minutes and 18 seconds.
No, it wasn't your money, believe me. Forgetting our characters, you mean like how did we get into character? And I was very much on the book all the time. I carried the book with me all the time. I read the book over and over. Whenever I was unsure about anything or how to approach it, I always went back to what Tolkien wrote. Originally, when I read the first scripts, there was all this stuff that had been written that was sort of nothing to do with the books, and they ended up like getting rid of that and taking the story more back towards the books. So there were particular pieces of music that really inspired me, and it was, the whole world was there. When you arrived in New Zealand, they just set up everything for you to succeed, everything for you to be able to find this character, from the horse riding to the sword fighting to learning Old English to dialect coaches, everything. So it was just a matter of like having all this material to study. It was really fun.
With my characters, and it definitely wasn't the money, because coming from New Zealand, we're a very low budget film sort of franchise. I was born and bred there, and I've done a lot of movies in New Zealand, and they pay very badly. However, Lord of the Rings came along, had a bigger budget, and they just did a slight better day-by-day payment rate. But to actually get into my characters was actually getting into the character itself once my makeup was done. Like after the 11-hour makeup, and just trying to feel the character that way. Because when I auditioned for the Urukai, they asked me if I read the book. And I said, have you seen the book? It's about me. I said, hell no. And they said, oh, well, you're going to be playing a Makoare. And I went, okay, what's that? They had no hypnosis of the characters to tell them, give me a little bit of, you know, they're big and they're grumpy and all. Well, that's half the population. But had no real sense of the character until I was actually in that character. The makeup artist would leave me with a mirror that probably cracked a few times. Yeah, and it just left me to play with the characters in there. Because I played 3 different characters, I had to do that to give it the similarity, to differentiate each character so they're not the same, with voices, with movement. So yeah, it's just a lot of practice to actually get into those characters.
You start with the script. Any of you who become filmmakers or directors, you start off with a great script. That indicates the character as it should be. The problem with Lord of the Rings as a book is it's unfilmable. And to turn it into a movie, you have to invest an enormous amount in differentiation with your actors. We decided, for instance, on Tolkien's Cube, that the elves would have a slight Welsh lilt to their musical voices. We know that the hobbits are really Somerset, southwestern England, Somerset, people like that, you know, nice people, but they do talk a bit funny like that sometimes. And then there was the problem with Gimli. What was left, I thought? Well, I could do an Irish. Hey, you could be a little Irish dwarf. Oh, bring your pretty face to my heart. But I wanted to go Scots. There's something. I mean, there are lots of accents in Britain, and there's certainly lots of accents in Scotland. But Edinburgh is a very refined and very posh way of speaking English properly. If you're going to really find the English spoken properly, you ask the Scots or even Welsh sometimes. The English have no clue how to speak English. But then there's that area around Glasgow, which is a lot more back in the throat, and it's got a slight sense of aggression to it. And I wanted that as part of Gimli, that instant fire, that xenophobia, that at any time. And Peter and I settled on that as being a plausible way of doing it. The other thing with my character is we are faced with a script that has no comic relief at all. And Peter and I discussed it and thought, you know, we need to be able to discharge the tension that comes from certain scenes by having a laugh from time to time. And I said, look, Gimli has got to be that character. The secret to Gimli, of course, is he doesn't realize he's small. And that in itself is funny. So you take all those considerations in. You serve the script, you serve the director's vision, and you cobble it together, and you end up with, as Peter did end up with, a masterpiece of work.
Hello. Michael.
I can't think of any that'd be airs. Like, I haven't heard anywhere I thought, oh, that's completely not true. A lot of the myths are really true. Can you think of any that aren't true, John?
Believe nothing. We're down to 4 minutes and 50 seconds. Let's move on.
If any of you could be any other character from the movie, either gender, I just have a weird voice, okay? So if you could be another character in the movies, either gender, who would you choose to be?
Oh.
I was actually going to play Frodo. I think people saying that I was a little bit too tall. You know, I said, well, if John Rhys-Davies can play a dwarf, I'm sure I can play a hobbit. However, I got someone else for the role.
I think I could have done Arwen. I find in you, Miranda, a real Sauron.
That sounds good. I wouldn't mind playing Sauron.
Will that answer your question? Who's next?
Shout out the Lord of the Rings fans you'll ever meet.
Oh.
He's my son Hunter.
Oh, well done. With a name like that, I don't think she should introduce her to you.
What was the most painful time that you had while acting?
Every day in makeup, taking that damn makeup off was painful. By the way, I like your fez.
I think I would say after the battle with the Witch King, definitely. That was the sorest I've ever been.
That wasn't me. That was my double. But every fight scene you had to leave with bumps, bruises, scrapes, scratches, especially when you're fighting Gimli.
Thank you, each of you, for being so generous with your time and being here today. So, for the three of you, because you had a variety of characters and superb costumes that you got to wear, made by Nyla and Richard and the folks at Otto, which was your favorite costume of all, or favorite piece of the costume?
I had so many beautiful costumes. It was one of my favorite things. Every time we'd have a wardrobe fitting and they'd come up with another amazing costume. But my favorite for Eowyn is the white dress because she's the White Lady of Rohan. I wish I had asked to keep the dress. They asked me what I would like to keep and I said, oh, I'd like my sword, which I got, and I would like my belt because I thought they'd never give me the dress. So I got this beautiful silver belt that they had handcrafted. But then I found out Liv asked for her dress and she got it. So I didn't aim high enough. I wish I had the dress. And I know Peter Jackson has all of that stuff. He has it all down in Wellington. Because I went back there recently and they pulled out a whole lot of my old costumes. They were all like sitting in the office there. So it still exists. I wish I could have had the white dress.
A dwarf only has one costume and he wears it proudly. Next question.
I've wondered this for a long time. How did they make the hobbits so darn small, or are they naturally that size?
Surgery. Next question.
Who is your favorite character from the entire franchise?
Samwise. He's the heart and soul.
I kind of like Aragorn.
Frodo. Accompanied, of course, by a certain well-known handsome dwarf. Next question.
Alright, I was wondering if you guys improv anything on sets?
Whether we improved anything. Not so much, because, I mean, really, I mean, the script was very set. I didn't improvise any dialogue or anything. It wasn't that kind of a film where you could make up dialogue. I don't know if anyone improved anything physical. No,
I improvised a lot with the director's assent and consent, and sometimes advice.
Okay, I was wondering what was the culture like when filming Lord of the Rings, and if you missed it at all.
I definitely miss it. It was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and I knew that when we were there. We were like a big family all that time in New Zealand, and like all of our spare time we sort of spent with each other as well. Whenever you went out, everyone was always out. It was just a really exciting thing to be a part of.
Well, I'm still with me, so I'm still in the cultures.
Okay, I was wondering if you are still in contact with any of the cast?
Yes, I am.
Yes.
I tend to see a lot of the Australian cast members because I'm living down there currently. But yeah, no, I am still in contact with people. Yeah.
Next question.
Yes, for Miranda and John, the two of you recently had the opportunity to reprise your roles as Eowyn and Gimli in Lord of the Rohirrim and Return to Moria. What was that like to come back to it after so long and to be as a voice role?
Fascinating. Fascinating, yes. It's very odd, though, to go back and do something that you did 25 years ago. Very odd.
Really odd, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I had the same experience. The first time I did an initial recording, and I was in Los Angeles, and I went into a studio, and I wasn't in the room with Philippa or any of the people who were with the production. They were sort of down the line. And it was really hard to kind of really get back into it, but then when we did the final record, I went back to the studios in Wellington, and that made all the difference to be in the room with everyone. And it was actually kind of hard. I thought, oh, they'll like it that my voice is like more mature now, and they're like, no, we want you to sound exactly like you sounded then. Which was harder, but it was really a moving experience going back, because it was the same lot of people who work at Park Road Studios there, and it was sort of like this opportunity to go back in time just for this really short period. It was special. Did you find it like that, John?
Yes, but I think that we're now a minute over our time. Can we just... how many more questions are there? Well, that 2 questions. All right, we'll do it very quickly. Come on.
I have a question for you. What was it like playing in the Mormon Tabernacle Choir as the ghost of Christmas present hanging on wires in the air?
It was wonderful. Flying over Lodges is just glorious. Yeah, I had a lot of fun with that. Yes.
Well, I had the great privilege of being in New Zealand in February. I went to Middle Earth, and it's very remote. It's absolutely spectacular and unique. But I was wondering what your day was. Was you able to stay out there? Did you have to travel every day? Kind of what was your normal day like in filming?
It depended where we were shooting, really. If we were on location or the studios.
There was that memorable time when we were shooting, I don't know if we were there. We were down in Queenstown. And it was raining a bit. That was the day the call sheet went out. There will be no filming tomorrow as the lake is underwater. Not only the lake, but about 20 square miles around the lake. That was the time where we all got issued with Wellington boots and walked to the step ladder to climb to the first floor of the hotel because the ground floor was flooded. And it was a moment of genius, actually, because there had been so much rain it had wiped out 12 houses and that had pushed them right across the main road. So instead of the production office being 3 miles away from the town, it was now about 19 all around the lake, single track road. When you're in a big production, if something goes wrong, it can really throw things completely out. The genius of the production of that show showed just then. We did not film that day. We then had to move 200 crew, horses, to another part of New Zealand and arrange accommodation for them. And you understand, there wasn't that much accommodation available at short notice. And we traveled the following day, and the day after, we picked up the show somewhere else. It was a tribute to the organizational genius of Jackson's team.
You guys, one more time, can you please give a huge round of applause for time, guys. We have one more time. Can you please pull out your cell phones? Pull out your cell phones. We're doing one more group shot with all of them here. Please pull out your cell phones. Get your cell phones out. They're gonna do it one more time. Cell phones out. Put your flashlights on here. We're gonna do one more photo. Get the photo. All right, guys. Let me turn. All right, guys, on the count of 3, you're gonna go nuts. 1, 2, 3.